From Chrysler Arena to courts around the world, they wore the maize and blue, and now they're bringing you the game, inside and out. Hale Media presents Nolan and Hobbs, the Women's Hoop Home Court podcast, hosted by Maddie Nolan and Jordan Hobbs.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Nolan and Hobbs show with me, Maddie Nolan, and my co-host, Jordan Hobbs.
We have a very special episode today. We will be reviewing the Michigan versus Purdue game that they played just a few days ago. And we have our very first guest, Veronica, or Roni Peterson, better known for Michigan fans as Roni Hicks. She is a Michigan alum. Honestly, she laid the foundation for Michigan as they entered the postseason when she was there, and they haven't looked back since. And she's doing even more incredible things now after her basketball journey, creating multiple apps and just doing amazing entrepreneurial work in the real world.
Another dominant win by the Michigan Wolverines women's basketball team, 104-56. What a way to kick off Big Ten play. Just the word that comes to mind for me is dominant. Throughout the whole season, honestly, they've scored 100 multiple times, and to do it against a Big Ten opponent is amazing. Jordan, thoughts on the game? What's something that stood out to you?
The first thing that I saw from this game was Michigan's defense. They were absolutely dominant on the defensive end. Purdue actually shot more shots than Michigan, which is crazy because Michigan had 15 steals. Purdue shot 61 shots to Michigan's 56, but they only made 20 of those field goals. So Michigan held Purdue to 33%. That is just absolutely stifling. I think Coach Rico, since she has coached, period, has emphasized defense. And defense is always going to transition into offense. It's going to bring you into your transition game and just kind of help the game flow a little bit better. And it's clear that that is what helped Michigan propel them to this huge victory.
100%. Like you said, Michigan had 15 steals. They forced 23 Purdue turnovers, shot 59% from the floor, shot 45 free throws, made 33 of them. That's insane to think about. And then just something we've talked about nonstop, honestly, the Michigan bench coming in, playing really well, playing like 4 players playing between like 15 to 19 minutes scoring. You have Teala again, 13 points. Kendall having 10 points. Macy coming in. I think she's been really solid off the bench for Michigan this season, having 7 points. All 7 of Macy's points are from the free throw line, which is just so crazy to think about. But, you know, we've talked about the depth of this Michigan team, and it just continues to show throughout the season.
Absolutely. And I think it's just really important for the bench players to get these reps early in season and to get them against Big Ten opponents. You're building that confidence early on. And we've mentioned time and time again how important having a deep bench is going to come later down the line when you're playing back-to-back days in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament. You would just have one off day in between games. So it is crucial for the Wolverines if they want to go deep this year, and they have made a statement every single game.
100%. In addition to the tournament games, you just never know with foul trouble or the season. It's a long season. So the ability to have some of these bench players play almost 20 minutes a game in Big Ten play nonetheless is huge for the Wolverines down the line, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Coming up, though, Michigan plays Akron. Maddie actually going to be at the game. So that is very exciting. If you want to, catch a little celeb in Ann Arbor. Go to the game.
Gosh, I don't know about that. But I'm very excited. Akron is 1-7 this year. They're playing at Chrysler. As Jordan said, I will be there. Looking forward to hopefully more dominance by the Michigan Wolverines. But they play Saturday at 12. We are so excited to have Roni Peterson here today with us. She was a former UMich women's basketball player from 2007 to 2011 and wore the great number 3 is how we got connected. So we're so excited to have her on the Nolan and Hobbs show today.
Yeah, I'm a little bit out of the mix here. I feel a little bit on the outside, but that's okay. That's all right.
Sorry,
Jordan. But yeah, Roni, let's just start a little bit back. Like, how did you get into basketball? When did you know that you wanted to play in college as well?
Yeah. First of all, thank you guys for having me.
Of
And I love
course.
we still got a Midwest connection with you, Jordan, right? Because you're Ohio, I'm Illinois, Maddie is Indiana. So
Oh, yeah.
you're in again. You're in again.
Okay.
Actually, my son's name is Jordan. So
There we go.
Perfect.
That might be
yeah,
that might
my
be it out
first
to number 3.
exactly,
Mm.
right? He might be 10. So um no, but basketball for me, I think, most of us started super young. I started with my dad. My dad was just in love with the game. He didn't end up playing in college. He went to Northwestern University and just played recreationally, but he was
Mhm.
just a big fan of the game. And so I was his only child,
Oh.
and I happen to be a girl. So it's that classic like girl dad.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't force me into sports. I think God just blessed him, was like, since you didn't get a boy, she's gonna be kind of tomboyish and like
Okay.
sports. And I just really did. So I just remember him taking me out. It was like one of my earliest memories. I might have been like 3. I was like a
Oh my
toddler. He
gosh.
always talked about it. Took me out to a parking lot and gave me a ball. And he said, I just naturally just started dribbling
Mm.
back and forth with both hands, by the way. And I'm
Love
right-handed. So I was kind of like, he's like, you was just smiling and giggling and just like having a ball of fun. And so that was like my earliest memory with basketball. And from there, I did swimming. I did tennis because the Venus and Serena, the Williams sisters, were
Oh,
so
yeah.
big. And so he was inspired by that. But I went back to basketball, and he would put me in camps. And then eventually, once I got in, started going in elementary school, he was just like, "So what do you want to do?" Because I'm not gonna be able to do everything.
You're right.
And it was basketball. I was like, I want to continue to hoop. And so I would play in the Bull Sox Academy in Chicago, like doing all those camps.
Mhm.
And my school that I first went to didn't have a girls basketball team, actually. So I actually was a
Wow.
cheerleader for a year. Like, that's
wow.
super fun fact.
That's a
Super fun
great fun fact.
fact. And eventually we moved to the south suburbs of Chicago, and there, 6th grade middle school was a co-ed team. And it was my first year at that school and trying out for a team. And me and one other girl who happens to be one of my best friends still today, Bianca, tried out. We made the second cut. And this team was coached by a bunch of the dads of the boys,
Oh,
right?
of course. Yeah.
Of course. So
Mhm.
second round of tryouts, and then they post the team, and me and Bianca go, and neither one of us made the team. They had an all boys team. It's in my
Oh,
6th grade. Yeah, they cut
Mm.
both. So what happened, one part of what happened was I was new. Bianca was
Mhm.
was the only girl on the team the previous year.
Okay.
And they just couldn't dare to cut one of their sons. So they're like, well, we can't take them both, so we're not going to take either one of them, and just
Mm.
dropped.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
Ugh.
there was some adversity earlier on,
For
but I
sure.
love to play. I love to play, so I kept playing, and I started AAU that summer,
Okay.
which was like a like brain boggling experience. It just opened
Yeah.
my eyes and my parents' eyes, because none of my immediate family had gone to school for sports, except for my
Mhm.
brother-in-law. He played in college, but none of my immediate family had done that. So AAU, all of that stuff was just fresh. It opened our eyes to the possibility of me being able to play and having a space. And eventually, 7th and 8th grade, they were all girls teams, and I made those teams and
You
did
good.
well. So that's kind of the start.
Aw.
I'd be
And
willing to
so
bet we're better than a lot of those guys too, and they were
oh,
just scared
yeah.
to have on that team.
I'm telling it was the dads, right? They couldn't cut their son.
Mhm.
And it's like, I
No.
appreciate it. But yeah. And then it worked out too, because again, Bianca was my best friend then. So I would have hated for them to be like, well, we're gonna take her and drop her. Like, so
Yeah.
it
You guys
worked out.
had each other for sure. That's
But
nice.
definitely, like, I could have, yeah. Some of those. Come on.
Oh,
Come
yeah. And so you said you started playing AAU and then you realized kind of the opportunities that you could have. But what did your recruiting process look like? When did you
on.
first start getting looks? Just take
Yeah.
us through all that.
Yeah, so at that period of time with AAU, I started out with like a more local team. And then eventually, as I went into high school, some of the older girls on my team who were already kind of getting looks were playing on like a way better known AAU team. It's called Chicago Hoops Express out of
Okay.
Chicago. And so eventually I was pulled over and given the opportunity to join that squad. And
Nice.
so that opened the world to me. Shout out to Gerald Davis and Coach Lewis. But you know, he would put on these things called jamborees, and they were like these
Mhm.
like 1-day shootouts, you know, where you
Oh,
go
yeah.
and you get your shirts and you get on the team and you guys kind of like have 4 or 5 games in the day.
Right.
So I specifically remember one of my best friends from the team. I was at her house and she was opening up all this mail. She was getting mails from like everyone. Like I was on, our team was stacked. We had someone go to Notre Dame, St. Louis,
Oh,
Ohio
wow.
State, Michigan, right? So our team was stacked. So
Yeah.
she was getting all this mail. And I will never forget this one piece of mail she got from Kentucky. And it was one of those like paper jerseys. Like they made a jersey
Oh.
with
Oh,
her
yeah.
name.
You think you're like the crap when you get one of those. Oh, yeah.
Now, I know I don't look, and I know I don't look as old as I am because I'm much older than you guys. It's like hard for me to admit that, but I'm much older than you. So back when I was getting recruited, like there was no social media, right? There was
Mhm.
no social media. And we had cell phones. We did text, but there was no like texting. Like coaches
Yeah.
didn't text you. So it was like mail or like phone call. Like
Okay.
that was it. Like that was how we communicated.
Right.
Email too, maybe.
Email.
But
Okay.
yeah, right? Fancy?
I
Fancy.
like it. Yeah.
So she gets this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they really want you. I'm like, they really want you, Tati. That's so cool. And I'm getting mail, and I had gone on a few visits up to this point, mostly local schools. So shout out to like Coach P from Illinois State. She gave me my
Mhm.
first offer. She was, or it
Gosh.
might have been Northern Illinois, gave me my first offer. Shout out to them. Coach P is at Minnesota now,
Okay.
head coach there. But I've been to a bunch of like state schools, and then like I started getting some like other letters from people. But I went to the jamboree that summer. He always did a few of them. Got on my squad. I remember we were in Naperville, Illinois, IBA. It was like 4 or 5 courts, right? One of
Okay.
those, you know, big field house
Oh,
places.
yeah.
My team was playing on the first court during this game. So I'm bringing the ball up, and like defense is kind of sagging off. So I'm like, okay, might as well. So I shoot it, make a 3, get back. So we get back, we get a stop. I bring it up again. This time I'm like, maybe one more step back. I'm like, yeah, stop.
Let it fly. Yeah. Shoot
Give
or
it
shoot.
again, right? I'm in my Maddie Nolan bag now. I'm like, so go back, get the ball again. We come back down. Teammate finds me. I'm like a step behind that. Everybody's like, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
stop.
Let it fly.
Did it again. Did it again. 3. Everybody's like up now, and everybody's like coming to our court. They're looking at like, yo, Ronnie's hot. Nah, nah. So we get the ball back, and like at this point, right, the defense is like, okay, I'm gonna pick her up. And I'm
Right.
like, oh no, you ain't. So I took like 1 or 2 steps over, shot it, bang, 4 in a row. Basket was big as the ocean. Everybody's like, like it's going bananas. Needless to say, the Michigan coach at that time, Cheryl Burnett, happens to be watching that game. And so that was her first introduction to me. And I started hearing from them. And eventually I got my jersey
You got your
letter.
jersey in the
Yeah.
mail.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's real. It's real. So yeah, that was exciting. And for me, being from the Midwest and also coming from a family, like I said, my dad went to Northwestern, my sister
Mhm.
went to Notre Dame. Like my other sister went to Hampton. I mean, education was just big. So, you know,
Yeah.
it was, to me, I secretly at that time, you know, saw myself going to a school like a Duke or a Stanford, right? Places where you
Mhm.
could do both really well. And then Michigan came, and I'm like, this is perfect. And I think God
Mhm.
just aligned and ordered my steps for that to be at the Harvard of the Midwest,
Oh,
as
yeah.
they say. So yeah, that's kind of how that went.
That
Love
is
it.
an awesome story. I love that. That's so fun when you're on fire so much and like you
Oh,
said,
yeah.
it's as big as the ocean. But before we get into your college career, I just want to ask if you have any advice for kids that are getting recruited. I know the times were a little bit different, like social media is such
Mhm.
a big factor back then, but even you mentioned that you were on a really talented team where girls were getting offers and maybe you weren't getting as big of looks. So like how did that feel and how did you process through that and continue working? But also just any advice.
Yeah. So I know to me, the biggest thing right now, especially in today's landscape, is like just you got to cancel the noise, right? Like you
Mhm.
got to cancel the noise. There's so much coming at you all. You got to cancel the noise between YouTube, social media, like everyone's posting their workouts and what they're doing,
Mhm.
their accolades. And all that's great, but comparison can really kill, right? And we're all on our own individual journeys. So I think the first thing is like you got to be like laser focused on you, who you are, what you want, right?
Mhm.
And then I think the second part to back that up is you got to be willing to put in the work
Yeah.
because um the other thing that I think, media can do is it can bring in this kind of sense of entitlement, or you see this like immediate gratification without
Yeah.
knowing the full process that
Mm.
any of us have gone through to get to where we were. Like you all spent, hours shooting in the gym, right? And
Right.
working on your craft and your game before the highlight came on M Go Blue. Same with me,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, you got to be willing to cancel the noise, walk your own path, and just put in the work, and then also just be like realistic. I used to go to this camp, Point Guard College, and one of the things that they did that I love so much is they sat us down, they broke down film, and they would share concepts with us. And one of the main things they would always say is this. Shout out to the director, Sefu Bernard, who I think is with like the WNBA right now. But they would
Yeah.
show this graph of like this exponential curve, and it called it the Great Delusion. And it's basically
Mhm.
like every level of basketball that you try to attain, understand that the seats get more limited. Like
Right.
it's a huge drop off. And also, while the seats drop off, the amount of work also increases. So it's like
Mm.
this indirect proportional relationship that you have to be realistic about, right? So how you measure up here versus your peer
Right.
matters, but also the work that you put in also matters because, sometimes hard work can beat talent if talent, forgets to work
Mhm.
hard. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
100%. That's great advice. I think you can apply it to email recruiting, to social media recruiting, and like you touched on, especially now with the social media, it's so easy. Everyone posts the highlights of their life, right? The highlights of their workouts, the highlights of their game, and to be able to kind of focus on your own path and how you're going to get there is the most important. I love that. Awesome. So you get recruited, you get your jersey in the mail, you love Michigan, you commit, you
yeah.
show up for summer workouts. Did you have like a welcome to Michigan, or even like a welcome to the Big Ten moment your freshman year that you're like, oh.
Did y'all have one too? Do we all have those?
Yeah, like I told Jordan I was just the worst player on the team. I was coming back from my knee surgery, so I was like limping around. Like it was a whole thing. So mine was my whole like half of my freshman year was just a welcome to Michigan moment,
Yep.
honestly.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. My first summer I just had insane anxiety, so I would have like stomach problems like every day and like would just be toppled over because I was so scared to practice.
Oh my gosh. One of that reminds me of Bianca, actually.
Mhm.
Shout out to her. Before every game without fail in high school, she threw up. We would be
Yeah.
like coming out of the locker
Oh
room
my
and
gosh.
and just like had to go up and it was totally fine after. It was so
Okay.
hilarious. It was so
Yeah.
funny.
I've been
Um you been there? So that's Jordan.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
So for me, I was a solo class, right? So I was the
mm,
only freshman.
What?
Yeah, I was a solo class.
Oh no.
dang.
Pat on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
No,
good for
job.
I
you.
Good
mean,
for you.
it's nerve-wracking, but I wore it with a badge of honor because I'm like,
Okay.
it was one scholarship and I got it, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
um, so with that being said, though, everything was all new. Here's the other part for my come welcome to Michigan. I also came with the new coaching staff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So everybody was kind of new.
Yeah.
because we had new coaches, and I had signed with the original coach. So
Okay.
that wasn't even my coaching staff either. So we were all kind of new. So that helped level it out, Maddie. So don't
Right.
feel too bad for me. But I will say this. I remember workouts where we, especially working on defense, doing defense.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I feel like I was getting blown by, but I kept rolling my ankles. I remember
Oh,
specifically,
double.
like, we're doing lane slides and we're doing like closeouts. It was like one day where I rolled my ankles like 3 times, and I just like go up to
Oh.
the side of the court and I'm looking at Melissa and I'm just like, I don't like, what is
Mel,
going
help,
on?
please. Yeah.
I'm like Bambi out there, and I already look
Oh.
like Bambi because I'm skinny, right? And so it's just
Right.
like, I just can't stay on my feet. So that was my welcome. That was my welcome. And you know, moments like that, you really like, you start questioning yourself. You're like,
You're like,
was
maybe
I
I should have
really
gone mid-major somewhere else. Yeah. You're like, am I supposed to be here? Yeah.
wild, right? But eventually I found a way to stay on my feet. But it
I'm
hurt.
sure.
It hurt like the dickens.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. At least you had Mel. Mel's a great AT.
Mama Mel.
Mama Mel.
Mama
Love
Mel.
her. Jordan, you never got to experience her, but you had Miss Chris. I was lucky enough to get Mel
You
and
got
Miss
both?
Chris. So, yeah, I get the best of both worlds. So, I'm so grateful. But, yeah, I
She
mean,
was amazing. And I'll say this too, to that point. That was the only time that I really spent in the training room. Like, I was,
okay.
thankfully,
Yeah.
again, this isn't necessarily your story, Maddie, but
Yeah.
thankfully I didn't have any like, I didn't have any injuries like that. The only thing they had to worry about, Ronnie, was cramping. I would cramp.
Okay.
Like they had to have electrolytes ready to go.
Yeah,
It's bad.
I feel like for a lot of freshmen, the defense is the toughest part. So you're definitely not
Oh,
alone.
yeah.
I struggled. I would always like foul people like crazy, like 2-hand check them because I couldn't stay in front of them. So I understand where you're coming from. Okay, so you are a big part of turning Michigan around into what they are now. I mean, like
hmm
they're considered one of the blue bloods now on the women's side even. They're killing it this year and they've been for a while. But what mentality did you come in with to be able to turn that program around and how did it evolve over your career?
Yeah. We all know this saying, like, pressure makes diamonds, right?
hmm
Well, recently I was actually learning like how diamonds are really made, right? And it was really interesting to me because it takes a ton of pressure and a ton of heat to actually make a diamond.
hmm
And then like there's so much beyond that. There's these things called kimberlite pipes, which is like this huge volcanic eruption that happens like toward the core, and it pushes all of the diamonds and makes these diamond-shaped tunnels up toward the surface. So first they're made, then they get pushed up toward the surface, and then the miners come, drill down holes really deep, make their own tunnels, start scraping, grinding, getting to those gems amongst all the dirt and debris. Then you got to like rinse them, settle them, then you got to cut them and chisel them in just the right way that like the
Uh-huh.
light reflects their brilliance, and then they're ready for the hardware. And
Wow.
so that process to me was so much like building a program, if you think
Mm.
about it.
Yeah.
So my freshman year, like I said, I was a solo class.
Mhm.
So I got to give a shout out to the seniors that year. So it was Krista, Katie, Janelle, and Tashia. Right.
Mhm.
And they held it down. And I could tell you prior to that year, I don't think they had a postseason. But
Okay.
that year, going out their senior year was the first year that they did. So we
Wow.
went to the NIT.
Mhm.
And from then, you know, the next class, Skirb, Jess, AJ, Queen, KP, Kaylin, Reese, Q, all of them, they kind of like we fell in line and fell in order with that, with this new staff, with like growing our expectation. And so I think they were definitely like the pressure cooker moment where it was
Mhm.
like, okay, the gyms are created. Like we
Yeah.
found like there's something down here. And like
Mhm.
now we've got to like force this thing up to the surface. And so 3 out of my 4 years, we actually had postseason. My second
Mhm.
year, we kind of had a lull. That was the real growth. That was the real like growing pain year where, you know, we really had to grind and scrape I had moved into the starting lineup, and from a coach who didn't play freshman, so I didn't get a lot of time my freshman year, but I started to break the rotation towards the end of conference play, and so I got to play with those seniors. And then that next year, we had some really cool wins. Like, we even beat Notre Dame that year, but we didn't quite do it in conference the way we needed to. So it shows you like the steps that you have to take. Eventually, fast forward to my junior year, and we beat everybody, right? And we finished third in conference. I got some all conference honors, and we were just like feeling so great. And we have a watch party for the tournament at Coach Borseff's house, and we're there, and there's food, there's snacks, the whole staff is there, and we're down there in the basement watching on this big screen, waiting for our number to be called. Now, at this point, we're definitely a bubble team. We're definitely a bubble team. So we're like, maybe, we're going for 8, 9, maybe, an 11 seed.
Yeah.
So it's Selection Monday. They're calling the names. Eventually, like, I just space out because we actually don't get called, right? So we end up in the NIT again. And that was so heartbreaking because at that point, I think that was like the first 20-win season that we had. And I don't know how long, like, it was so tough. And it was so heartbreaking. I went straight to Bible study after that. I was like, I need some Jesus to like get over this. And then my next year, my senior year, we go to we end up doing really well again in conference. And I remember my senior night at Chrysler, last home game, we're playing Minnesota. And shout out to Coach Dawn, who was my assistant coach then, but she's now the head coach at Minnesota. So we're playing Minnesota at Chrysler. It is 4 seconds left in the game, and we're down by 3, taking the ball out full court. Rachel Shefford is taking the ball out. Now, mind you, the night before, the men play Wisconsin. They're down, they're up 2. Wisconsin throws the ball in, takes 1-2 dribbles, heaves the ball up, makes a 3 at the end of the game to win. So they hit a buzzer beater.
Okay.
So the next day during shoot around, after everything is done, I'm literally going from one end of the court to the other, practicing half court shots.
Okay, you're ready. You're ready for your moment. You're ready for your moment.
Wait, Maddie. In hindsight, yes. But in the present, all my teammates, they're like, Ronnie, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Stop. What are you doing this? And I'm just like, no, listen, like, this could be my last game at Chrysler, and I haven't done this yet. I'm like, I've done a lot, but I haven't hit a half court shot yet. I might have to hit a half court shot,
Yeah, might as well.
I'm like, I'm practicing. I'm making some of them. I'm missing a lot of them, but I'm making,
Yeah.
So when we have the ball, timeout, I like, all the eyes are just, I'm like, I go deep into myself because everybody's looking at me at this point because they're like, you can't make this up. It's your senior night. You're down 3. You were just practicing half court shots. You're taking it out the full, and like, everyone's looking at me like, all right, come on, Ronnie.
Okay, girl.
So I'm like, all right, I'm getting the ball. I already know what's happening. So Rachel fakes left, shimmies over to the right. I sweep around to the right side, get it, sweep over my defender, 1-2 dribbles over half court, lob it up, make the shot. Everybody at Chrysler is like freaking out. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, they're going crazy. As you should,
I can't believe she made the shot. She made the shot. All to say that in overtime, we lost the game. We had 18 wins. We lose that game. Then we go to the Big Ten Conference tournament. First game, we're playing Illinois. Illinois is like, we had a decent seed. Illinois is like, they did not have a good year. We beat them twice that year. One of the games at Chrysler when we played them, because I'm from Illinois, I scored 18 in the first half. Like, I was giving them the business. I was like, so we're gonna play Illinois. I'm like, okay, cool. It's so hard to beat a team 3 times in one season.
It is. Especially tourney time,
Tourney time, like, everyone just puts on their capes. And they're just
Mhm.
like the teams have no chance are like, I'm going to ruin your life.
Literally.
They
Yep.
literally was like, I'm going to ruin your life. So
Mhm.
they kind of ruined my life. So we lost. So those last 2 games would have put us at 20 wins. We're on the bubble again.
Mm.
Needless to say, we were in the NIT again. And so my 3 out of 4 times were all NIT. So I'm the NIT queen. I will say junior year, it was crazy because when we were so heartbroken not to make it, we actually were in the final 4 of the NIT. Like we were 1 game away from the national title. And I knew
Right.
for sure we were going to win. And Miami
Yeah.
came to Ann Arbor and beat us. And so like we were so close.
Hmm.
So the other thing that happened when we like kept being on the bubble, just making it, shout out to Coach Will, head coach at Grand Valley State right now. But I specifically remember Coach Will after we didn't make it. He's just like, "Ah, we got to do like the non-conference different. Like it's a
Right.
formula, right?
It
Because
is. It
we
really
like
is.
worked our butt off and we did so well and we did so well in conference those last 2 years. And he was just like, our non-conference didn't give us enough of what was needed to like go over the top, if you're on the bubble. So they figured it out that next year. And you get again, it's been rocking and rolling. So I'm
Oh
proud.
yeah.
I'm proud.
You should be for sure.
And that's why I brought up that process with the diamonds, because you gotta go through all of that. So when I think
Mhm.
about like the journey our program has been on, Michigan women's basketball and specifically my role, I was definitely the grind mode role, like that
Yeah.
grind phase where we had pressure cooked the diamonds, we pushed them up, but you
Mm.
still gotta dig and you still gotta go through the rubble and you still gotta recoup them and recover them. And then fast forward to, like you said, now, I mean, the program is chiseled. Like you guys have done such a great job. The coaching staff has done such a great job, KBA. And, now it's like we're getting fitted for the hardware at this point. So,
Yeah.
I'm proud of my spot in my
Yeah.
space in our history. I think we always want to push it forward, right? We always want to do more. And to be in the top 10 now is great. I also say that the girls after me, Courtney, Carmen, Jam, Nels, Kate, Naya, Jenny, Rachel, Kendra, Val, Sam, all of them that came after me the very next year is when they went to the tournament. So it all just continued to progress.
Right.
We built on top of each other, the success. And from that, point forward, it's just been off to the races. So I'm glad to be kind of one of those layers of the foundation and to see where you guys have continued to push it. You can't help but to be proud. So I'm happy for my role.
Okay, so now career after Michigan, you graduate with an operations engineering degree, which is, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's insane.
Because, yeah, wow. But then you decide to play overseas. What went into that decision? Just talk us through that. I mean, because Jordan and I are obviously over here right now.
Yeah.
And just what your experience was like over there.
Yeah. And I was actually in between business school because I think Jordan, you did Ross,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I
Yeah.
almost did school. So the engineering degree I got was kind of like a mix of both. But we'll talk about more of that. So going overseas, honestly, when I was playing again, this was a little ways back. But I was thinking like W or bust. I was just
Yeah.
like, either I'm going to go to the WNBA or I'm just going to start working. Because the
Right.
only thing I really knew about overseas was from the movie Love and Basketball. And like maybe two, of the girls that I had played with, who were older than me, had, played, and both of them already had international experience because they were Canadian. So they kind of,
Okay.
it was kind of a given for them. Um, so, everybody else had just gone on and started working. So, after kind of the disappointment of not making the tournament and then like looking at the draft board and not getting drafted because it was even more scarce then than now. I was just like, I guess I'll just start working. But I remember and I didn't think I wanted to go overseas, but I remember again at PGC, Sefu, again, shout out to him. I remember playing, doing some drills and stuff, and he was just like, I can see you playing pro.
Mm.
And like at that time, that's big when you get that like validation, right? That
Right.
confirmation that like I can, and I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, great. So, and I was going into my senior year, either junior or senior year. So I got contacted by an agent. Shout out to Fabio. I'm gonna give everybody their flowers
You
along this way.
should, yeah.
So shout out to Fabio. I think he's still in the business. He reached out to me and was just like, hey, be interested in representing you. I think I can get you a contract. And so really, and I don't know like what you guys' journey was, but you're kind of waiting, you're kind of trying to see. And then this opportunity comes and you're just like, well, why not? And
Yeah.
essentially, I was just like, okay, well, if I could keep playing, I mean, eventually I'll get a job or work.
Yeah.
If I could keep playing, fine. And it was the best decision I made, even though I didn't think I would want to go. The best decision I made because you get so much life experience, right? You culturally, you learn so much. I had only been out of the country to go to our Cancun tournament, right? That's when I got my passport. So
Right.
this was just like world. Oh yeah, we didn't go on like really fancy trips like you guys have done, like the European tours and stuff.
I didn't get a European trip, so
There we go, Maddie. So yeah, Jordan. Everything
yeah,
goes to Jordan.
Jordan.
Oh, Jordan. No, just no, but so just being able to live in, I'm sure you guys, you're feeling it too. It's a different lifestyle. It was a lifestyle that I knew wouldn't be for me long term, but I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah.
I wanted that experience. So I did 1 year in Romania, 1 year in Slovakia. So stayed in Eastern Europe. I was supposed to go to Brazil and Spain, all these other things, and they kept falling through. So it's a grind. It was a grind, but I was so glad that I did it and got to meet some great teammates along the way. One of my American teammates who played at BC, Steph, and we played against each other. And then we ended up being in the same team overseas. She was in
Oh,
my
wow.
wedding. I still talk to her today. So,
Aw.
it's like lifelong memories and experiences. And culturally, I'm just so grateful. So, yeah, it worked out.
I'm
That's
sure. Do you have
awesome.
a favorite memory from playing overseas or like getting to experience something?
Yeah, well, I'll say there are many. There are many, but one that I'll say is trying to learn to drive a stick shift. Do you guys know how to look at Maddie's face?
No.
I did not know, but I was like determined to try to learn. So one of
Yeah.
my teammates that had a car, she's just like, okay, I'm gonna teach you. And then we ended up like the Americans, we ended up being able to get a car all together. And thankfully one of us could drive, but like they would
Okay.
try to let me drive. And like the clutch sensitivity between vehicles and I remember going around a roundabout trying to get to the grocery store and just stalled out in the middle of the roundabout. Like the most embarrassing,
Oh
like
no.
scary thing of your life. And, thankfully I was in a small town in, Eastern Europe. So no one like honked at me or shunned me as if I was in Chicago,
Right.
New York. But yeah, I think that was fun. It was, just moments like that. I also tried to
Mhm.
learn the piano while I was over there. So
Okay.
and was taking lessons from this Hungarian lady who really didn't speak English. So that was fun, like going to her house
Perfect.
and trying to learn how to play piano. So yeah, I just, it was just trying to take it all in, trying to pick up new things. You got a lot of time when you're not
Mhm.
there. So like what you guys are doing is really
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, stuff like that.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I feel like Maddie and I are doing that, like trying to take advantage of every moment that we have. So it's
Yeah.
definitely fun and it's definitely challenging. Like I feel like everyone sees like the really good things that we're posting on social media
Mhm.
and all this stuff, and then they don't see like the tears of being away from your family on Thanksgiving and Christmas and
Yeah.
just how hard it is. So it's a lot of pros and cons to it, but
A lot of pros and cons. I always say the highs are really highs and the lows are really low
That's true.
over here.
That's true.
So
It's true. It's an
just gotta
emotional
take it
roller coaster for sure. And I think
for
on the
sure.
basketball court, for me, my first year was much better than my second year. It's like I knew it was time to hang it up because
Yeah.
I was just out of gas. And I realized how much playing for me was tied to, as I've shared, with shouting everybody out. But it was tied to like the people around me. Like I'm just
Mm.
at my nature, just a team player, even in life. And
Yeah.
so, not having like my support system there was really tough for me. Yeah, it was different. I agree, it was different. But again, just grateful to have had the experience,
For
and
sure.
to make it out and move on.
Yeah. 100%.
This next question is a little off script. I was thinking about it as you were talking, and you mentioned your faith. Me and Maddie are both Christians, so I'm just curious as to like how that has shaped you throughout basketball, because it's so easy to have your identity wrapped up in basketball, and also kind of tying into that, just like your transition after basketball, how like difficult that was. Like you play your whole life, and then you make it a career for a few years, and then you have to go and kind of stop playing. So if you could just touch on that a little bit.
Oh, that's great. 1000%. Everything that I've shared, like you said, I mentioned it because I do believe, like, I know that my steps have been ordered, right? Like,
Mhm.
I know it. And I think where faith truly comes in for me, um, is understanding and knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it's not a perfect journey, right? It's not a perfect walk. It's about you actually having your intentions, your focus, your heart set in the right thing, having your beliefs set in the right thing, which for us would be God, and just allowing that process to unfold in all of its imperfections. So, did I want to be Big Ten Player of the Year, make it to the NCAA? Yes. Was that what was called for me? No. However, like in that journey, in that walk, between the relationships I built, between like the foundation that was set, the things that I did accomplish and was able to do, I know for sure like that was Ronnie's calling. Like that's what
Mm.
he had for me. I remember when I was right before I got the official offer at Michigan. I came to elite camp. And back in the day, this was kind of how this was all set up, right? So you come to elite camp. I got to play with the girls. We're hooping and stuff. I'll go through went through the camp and then stayed after a little bit, right? But I remember when we were registering, it was me and my dad in the line, going registering for the camp, about to go up to the table. And the song that comes on is When You Believe, with Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston off the Prince of Egypt. And
Mhm.
that always sticks out to me because if you ever listen to that song and the words, imagine like your little high school self arriving at the school of your dreams, like
Uh,
they're recruiting you, you're about to go play, and like a song about believe comes on, and it's just like it sits with me because in that moment, to me, again with my faith, was God telling me like, this is where you're supposed to be, right? This was meant for you. And so even when my coach, right, Coach Cheryl Burnett, shout out to her, shout out to Shannon Gage, who recruited me, when she was leaving, she was retiring, but then she maybe was going to go back and coach at Missouri State. And I'm just like, I'm going to Michigan. I'm like, that's where I committed. That's what I'm saying. And nowadays, Lord help the players, because Lord, with the hopping around and skipping and jumping. But we couldn't do that back then because we would sit out. So nobody was trying to leave. But
right.
I knew I was supposed to be at the University of Michigan, right? So I stayed even when my coach wasn't there
Yeah.
because that's what I believe God had for me. So all that to say is your journey, my faith, my belief, in what God has for me is for me. And it says that very clearly in the book. And so I'm not looking for it to be perfect. And there's hardships, as you mentioned, even with being overseas, with getting what you want. It still doesn't always feel great, right? It still doesn't
Yeah.
always have sunshine and rainbows, but I think faith is what keeps you grounded to know that and rooted in like this is what was meant for me. I'm not
Mhm.
supposed to have it all figured out or to know everything. And so it takes a lot of pressure off of us as humans, I
Yeah.
think, is the biggest thing. Like if you have faith to lean on, if you have God to lean on, then you know that like it's not all up to me. And that's a relief at the
Yeah.
end of the day. Like I'm
True.
so relieved that it's not all up to me. So yeah, that's a part of what I would say as my testimony. And then like just hanging up basketball is hard for all of us. Like any
Mhm.
sport, it's hard for all of us. But again, the way that I hung it up, it's kind of like I knew, like I just knew it's time to move
Right.
on. Like I didn't go out hoisting, the EuroLeague championship, unfortunately, but I just knew it was time. It was time to move on and be able to share like that you can still have a great career. You can still like achieve and accomplish goals, even if it doesn't look like this set, right? Even if it's
Mm,
not in this lane, and still feel really good about yourself and like what you've accomplished and what you've been able to do. Because again, thinking about the grand illusion, how many get to play collegiate, let alone D1, let alone Big Ten, and then go and play professionally and actually get paid, no matter how much you're getting paid, right?
yeah.
Like all of these things. And so you learn to look at the glass half full, but it's a wrestle, like you said, that identity piece. And this will go into what I'm doing now, but I'm so grateful that faith and then like being well rounded was always something that was a part of my upbringing. So,
Mm,
yes, you cling to what you're great at and what people know you for, which is Ronnie the basketball player. But the reason why I even started my company now is part of the reason is like I had the chip on my shoulder of I'm not a dumb jock. I got an engineering degree because I wanted to show like I'm more than the game. Like
yeah.
there's so much more to me. And I think that's the part that we could do a better job at, even when we're talking to other younger players, is, there's more to you. There's a lot that you have in there. And some of it can be used for the game in another way, like coaching, analyzing some other things, training. So you could do other things too. But you have to find as much value just in yourself as you do in the game, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all going to hang it up.
Right. 100%. That's great. I love that. That was a great question, Jordan.
Thanks. No, I was just curious because I feel like that's gonna be in the future for Maddie and I. So just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. So that was a great answer. I loved hearing that.
Yeah. You guys are on your way. Something like this is like, to me, like the best idea. So this
Oh,
is great. Keep
thanks.
this up.
We're having fun, so that's the biggest part. Um, but so we talked about you hang up your shoes after 2 years playing overseas. You work for 10 years at Morningstar. 2020 comes along, big election year. Create an app called Votable. Do you just want to tell us about how that came about,
Yeah.
what it looks like, and all of the fun stuff behind that?
Yeah. So votable. Barack Obama was my first election, right?
Mm,
And uh after that, I had never, like, I didn't vote in a midterm, I didn't vote in a primary. You could have asked me the three branches of government, I wouldn't have been able to tell you, not because I hadn't learned them, but I
yeah,
forgot because I wasn't
yeah.
really into that stuff. Like, I was STEM,
Hmm.
science, math, technology, not
Right.
history, social studies. So, um, for me, when 2020 happened, the pandemic, just like really huge election, George Floyd, all the things that were going on, I started to like feel like I need to hold myself accountable. And
Yeah.
one of the things was like, I want to be informed when I vote. Like, I want to
Mm,
actually know. I don't want to just pick a side because of the color or because of my family. I want to know what's actually going on. And I think, millennials, Gen Zs, Zennials, everybody else after that. I think my new son, they say he's beta now, generation beta.
oh
Lord help us.
gosh.
So all of us, though, we have our very strong convictions, right, about like around authenticity and around
Hmm.
like truly trying to understand. Like, we don't just go with the flow. And so Votable was an app that I built while I was working at Morningstar, but feeling still entrepreneurial, still had a lot of ideas. And I just built a platform to help laymen's like me who weren't really into politics try to understand like our civic process, our civic duty, our democratic process,
Yeah.
giving hopefully unbiased data. And it did pretty well. I got some investment and people wrote about it and I got interviewed for it. And that was kind of my first like outward venture. We even did a podcast with college students called the Delegation, which was really great, and just
Oh,
getting
nice.
political views from
Right.
campuses. So yeah, it was great. That was fun, and it was my first like true effort in like stepping outside of my corporate job, which I was always entrepreneurial, always had ideas. Like my first app was a basketball app called Pickup, and I built it and then it never saw the light of day. So when Votable came, I finally like had the gumption to like put it out there, and
Right.
it was pretty well received. So yeah, I was grateful for that.
That's awesome.
That's such a good idea. Like, it's so true. Like, people just vote based on their family's beliefs or their friends and people around them, and, like, they don't do a lot of the research that they really need. So I love that idea to create an app where you can just have it kind of all in one place, and the easier it is to access it, the more people are gonna try to. So
100%, especially today's world.
Wow. But there's so much misinformation, right? And then,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all confusing and there's so much drama. And
So
yeah,
much.
my background, I'll shout out Morningstar because the reason that was my thought process, because the place where I worked at did that with financial data. They really tried to
Mhm.
make it like understandable and like
Yeah.
synthesize it in a way that like at a glance you can kind of see like what's a good investment, like what's a good mutual fund. And so I was like, maybe I can take that framework and put it
Mm.
over here into politics.
Right.
Now, what I learned was I'm not really keen on finance and I'm not really keen on politics. So neither of those are my passions, but
Right.
working in them was great. It helped to
Yeah.
cultivate me and they're still super important. So with Votable, we kind of spun off and we're able to find other resources, and there's still some really great ones, and people reach out to me still just like getting my thought on it. But I realized like business wise that wasn't a venture that I wanted to like stick to, as well as
Right.
like very hard to monetize. Like I could go deep into that. We can have a offline discussion if you guys are that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a worthy cause for sure.
Mhm.
yeah,
For
that's
sure.
awesome. So I feel like with your next venture, Flash Hoops, it kind of combines like all three things with basketball, entrepreneurship, and education. Like, you seem like you love all three of those. So for the viewers, can you just describe what Flash Hoops is?
Yeah. Oh, you said that so well, Jordan. It's exactly that. It's a mix of all of those passions. I mentioned coming from a family where, education was really big. Now I'm a mom. And what I started to see and notice was, especially here in the US, post pandemic, our kids are like extremely behind in their proficiency levels when it comes to understanding even the most basic of concepts in reading and math and all the other things. The pandemic did them no favors
Mm.
whatsoever. But prior to that, it was still happening, just not maybe on as huge under as huge of a microscope. So shout out to Coach Sanderson, who was my Michigan strength and conditioning coach.
Oh yeah.
He called me one day, and this might have been like 2017. He called me one day and was just like, "Hey, my mom, she's a retired educator in Ohio, and she was just telling me how bad the math is getting, for the kids, and it's not really turning the corner." And at that time, he had school age children, and he was just like, I do these drills with them, and I know you're an engineer. I wonder if you can build apps. I feel like there's something there. So again, like God kind of ordering my steps. So from that conversation, we continue to like go back and forth on the idea, and Flash Hoops just came to me as we continued to go back and forth. And he was working and I was working. Then I did vote. Like all of this was before Votable, right? So I just like we kept going in and out, like in and out, in and out. And then I would build something and I would put it down and focus on this. And so eventually, again, like I become a mom. And then NIL happens. And then I'm just like, whoa, like there's an opportunity here. Business model, remember, very important. There's an opportunity here for us to be able to build something that will help these kids learn math using something that they know and love, like the game of basketball. And scientifically, we understand and know that using both sides of the brain at once, so doing something physical while also mentally stimulating, helps with retention, right? It helps with recall. And so I started to like put that science together and understand, to your point, like I love both of these things, and now I'm a mom. I want to see this work. I want to see this happen, and I want to make some huge impact. So like our vision at Flash Hoops is to have all students be able to reach proficiency levels, right? And what does that take? That takes a fair amount of effort and rolling up our sleeves. It takes due diligence. It takes us understanding like different learning styles and patterns. And now with things like AI, you can create and carve out like specific learning ways to help a student learn. But then also they need to be engaged. Like sitting down at a computer screen like they did for COVID is part of the issue. So if
Right.
I want a 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old to start learning their times tables and multiplication facts, gone are the days where they just want to sit down and like write it out. Let's get them up and moving around. So we actually were able to partner with people like a Maddie Nolan and say, hey, let us record you doing these drills. The kids are going to follow along with the drills. And as they do the drills, we're going to be working on their recall and working them through mental exercises of answering math questions. So it's the best of both of those worlds. And you get to look at the screen and look at someone that you look up to and emulate them at the same time. And so to date, we've worked through like the mobile, the web, and now we're like expanding in our market through like partnerships with leagues, with teams in the league. So we have, last year was our first time partnering with the G League team. This year we're partnering with 3, and we go on their school day games and we meet teachers and we meet administrators. And now we push for Flash Hoops now to be in every classroom across America. So that's the biggest goal. After school program, gym, math, like all of those things, and just to continue to build from there, like evolve
Yeah.
it, grow beyond maybe just a game that we love into other games that are interesting for kids. But yeah, just trying to make something engaging that gets them into math. And the reason why math is because it's the foundation of STEM. Like it's the foundation of everything that we kind of need. It's the universal language. You guys being in 2 different countries and us being on different continents, the one thing that we all are going to see are numbers that are exactly
Yeah.
the same. They, the values of them are the same. And so when you become an adult, even if you quote unquote aren't a math person, you still
Right.
need math. And
You need
so
math.
to
Yeah.
me, it is like the quintessential skill that never can, get old. But unfortunately, where our kids are today, they're struggling with that. And so I think if we can help them get better and improve, as well as some of us adults, we could see, some real change in our country and then hopefully around the world.
For sure. So for our listeners who are interested, like website, app, Instagram, just share them all. We can put them in the description as well. Just,
Yeah.
spread the
So,
word.
right now, flashhoops.com will have links to all of those things. Again, school partners, program partners, sponsors, and then on the consumer side as well. And then if you want to follow us, it's Flash Hoops app. At Flash Hoops app, Instagram, TikTok, please give us a follow. And then we're starting to YouTube up and stuff now too. Um,
Oh,
and then athletes, feel free to reach out as well. Hit that up, hit me up, Ronnie the
perfect.
Optimist at Instagram if you want to get involved and partner with us. But yeah, looking forward to anybody who wants to reach out and work with us. We're super excited about what's to come.
Yeah. And I got to work with Ronnie. We connected, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many years ago because we write letters to alumni with the same numbers. So I just happened to choose Ronnie, and I think it was a couple years after that she just reached out to me and was like, hey, I have this like program. Would you want to do some NIL with it? She flew out to Colorado. We filmed some stuff. So I'm actually in the app if that helps anyone want to download it. But that's how Ronnie and I got connected, which I think is so cool. And the Michigan connection is forever. But it was just really fun.
I'm so glad that they do that you guys do that for sure. I just want to like how geeked I was for any of like the current players. Like I was so geeked to get back. I was like, oh, look at it's the current 3. She's right for me. I was like, so yeah, that was so boss. I loved it. Yeah,
It
and
was simple.
yeah, we share that. We share the sisterhood. So I mean, just and then even in like inviting me on this platform with you guys, right? So I love it. Keep it up. I love it.
So cool. And okay, so now we have some rapid fire questions for you, just about Ann Arbor, your time there, all the fun stuff. So are you ready?
Ready. Ready.
Okay. Top 3 restaurants in Ann Arbor.
Okay. And I don't know if they're still there. I'm gonna go
That's
from my
fair.
time in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I like that.
Bell's Pizza,
Okay.
Zimmerman's,
Mm-hmm.
And then not a local thing, I don't think, but I used to hit up this place called No Tie all the time.
Oh.
I don't even know if it's still there.
No, it's
Yeah.
still there. And Jordan and I love it. We always talk about it.
Yes.
Wait, we
Yes.
remember what
Here.
you ordered.
Yeah.
Oh,
What was your order?
Oh, I would get the pad thai, but no
Okay.
peanuts, and then like the spiciest that it could get.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Oh yeah, I love it hot.
No, I'm actually going to Ann Arbor next weekend, and I told my mom, I'm like, okay, we'll go out to eat after the game, but then I have to pick up No Tie to take home with me because I'm not going to Ann Arbor and not getting No Tie.
I just did not know. You don't know how happy this makes me that you guys are like, I was like, they ain't got no tie. That's amazing. No tie is
We
the
know
bomb.
No Tie. The bomb. Like, I would be in Colorado. I'd be at home last year. I've been in France. I'm like, oh, I just really wish I had No Tie right now.
Wait,
and I'll
so
text,
what's y'all orders?
Sweet and spicy chicken, no spice, because there's still somehow enough spice there to get me. And then I love the crab wontons, I think, or the crab rangoons. I can't remember.
Facts.
So good.
Facts.
I switched between the sweet and spicy chicken and pad thai. It's like if I want noodles, I'm getting the pad thai, but sometimes just the chicken.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Maybe I'll try the sweet and spicy chicken next time I'm around.
It's fire.
It's good.
It doesn't miss. Okay, second question. Favorite study spot on campus?
The Dude, which is short for Duderstadt, which is the library on North Campus. Remember, I was an engineer, so I spent most of my time on North Campus. So if you have not seen it, it's 3 times better than the Ugly. I haven't seen the Ugly lately, but if you ask me, the Dude is the place.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Good info.
Yeah, good info. Hardest class you took at Michigan?
It's got to be physics. It was so hard that I took physics 2 at Washtenaw Community. I was not playing with them.
That's real.
That's
so real. That's real.
Okay, best Michigan sporting event you've been to other than a women's basketball game?
This is so tough. So I'm gonna cancel out football because everyone loves the big house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. It will always be great. I love it. Although I will admit that I would fall asleep during because we would go, after practice. And
you got the 8 a.m. Saturday morning practice. You're tired. Your legs are sore. I can't stand the whole game. I get it. I understand.
I would stay in the locker room and fall asleep. So anyway, I'm gonna say uncommonly. I'm gonna give a bunch, and I'm sorry, I'm cheating, but I knew people in all of these sports, and so I want to shout out because if you haven't gone, you should. Men's soccer, softball, hockey, volleyball for sure, and track and field. Each of those, I distinctly remember going to a game and they were off the chain. Shout out to Order of Angel and my senior honor society I was inducted into when I was on campus. So all of the senior leaders for those teams, we were all in a group together, which was a phenomenal experience as well that I'll cherish forever at Michigan. So yeah, those were some great games.
Yeah, I think also just when you know people on the teams and your friends, it's so much more fun, and everyone has pride wearing the Block M. So I think Jordan and I were the same. We would go to any sporting event. It sounds like you would too. We're like, oh, someone's playing, cool. Let's go.
It's phenomenal, and it's so fun.
So fun. I love it. Okay, last one. Your favorite moment wearing the Block M?
Anytime I was stepping on the court.
Okay, you don't have a favorite game?
A moment specifically?
Or even just a game, a favorite game. Other than your clutch 3-point half court shot.
Yeah. No, I would say when we beat either one of these, beating Ohio State or Michigan State. Always. Those wearing the Block M and doing that work.
That's real.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's all we have for you. And just thank you so much. First of all, you were just so fun to talk to and learn from. And I loved hearing your story. thank you for taking time out of your day too. I know you're incredibly busy, and just to share with the viewers what you're up to now, and just how you got to Michigan, and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, we're really honored to have you on, and to be our first guest as well.
Yeah, you're our first guest.
That's such an accomplishment.
It is. Yeah, pat yourself on the back. You deserve it. It's like Jordan said, so fun. I mean, obviously we have a connection before this, but to catch up and chat was just amazing. So thank you for taking the time and coming on the Nolan and Hobbs show.
For sure. Thanks for having me. And keep it. I want to just encourage you guys, like, keep it up. I know it's a grind. Keep making yourselves proud first. And this is amazing. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you again for tuning into the Nolan and Hobbs show. Thank you to Ronnie for just great insight today, great energy. We love catching up with our Michigan alum, and it was no different today. So thank you to her. Make sure to catch us in our next episode. Make sure to catch the Wolverines in action at Chrysler. And as always, go blue.
If you like this kind of content, please like, share, follow, and subscribe. And as always, go blue.